right. Hey, what's going on, ladies and
already.
gentlemen? Live already. It is Michael, host of the Smoke Pit podcast. And before we go any deeper, we got to address this. So, the main man, Jake, co-host, got a lot of adult stuff going on right now. He's making a move. He's going to be busy for the next week or two. So, I'm going to be covering a couple episodes, and he's going to be right back, just like it never even happened, even though it did happen. But, you know, it is what it is. But he's doing adult things, doing bigger and better things, I guess you can say. Aside from that, we got our guest today. They call me Doc. I'm going to call him Brandon for the rest of the show because it's a real long name, man. How you doing today?
I'm just thinking how overrated adulting sounds right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to do any of that.
No, I moved into this apartment and then I furnished it and then I realized, wow, man, that costs a lot of money. And then now I'm just sitting here like, I'm just going to hang out, I guess, you know?
I'm just a child in an adult's body.
That's fair enough. All right. So, Navy, mate, 12 years, active duty, right?
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately. So every day I regret not joining the Air Force because about a year in, I don't know who has ever been in the Air Force, but if your recruiter was in the office, you should feel blessed and lucky because I don't think I've ever seen one ever in a recruiter's office. But, you know, when you're the best branch and you hit your quotas the second day of the month, it kind of makes sense. So I ended up joining 2010 at the behest of my grandmother. And now she's like one of those supermoto parents that are like, oh, my grandson's in the Navy.
Yeah, my grandson's in the Navy.
Can you wear your uniform? And I'm like, I'm just trying to eat, Grandma. Please stop.
Yeah. Can you wear your uniform to Buffalo Wild Wings tonight?
Yeah, please. No, never. I was that boot that wore his dress uniform on planes, though, for a while because that free first class upgrade.
Yeah, I remember the river walk too. You talk about the Air Force, man. I'm Air Force. I've been in for 4.5 years now. So yeah.
So what was it like to have a recruiter in the office?
Yeah, oh, amazing.
Yeah, what's it like to be treated like a person?
Weird.
That's fair. To be in the military and also be a person. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, right. It's strange. I battle that every day, and I'm like, I just don't know how to feel. I feel like I should be this just grunt, but then at the same time, it's like, hey, buddy, how you doing today? And I'm like, yeah, you know.
It's 100%. Like I would never join now.
Really?
I have too much pride. You know, I couldn't join the Air Force. Come on.
That's true.
I can't downgrade, but also upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what you do, you know, because I'm security forces, so only knowing like being a cop. You know, in the Air Force, it's like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine anything else. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I think that kind of happens once you do join and you're in for something for long enough. You kind of become attached to it and you're kind of like, this is all I could ever really imagine. And I like it. There's a lot of really neat fucking people, man, in security forces. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking like just badasses that only care about, you know, like just the military gig, man. It's pretty cool. But okay, so 12 years.
12 years. That's still going. It's about that point where you reach the halfway point and you're like, I might as well go as far as I can. And
so I guess that you're probably going to try to retire out, right?
As long as I can pick up E6, that's the goal.
There you go.
The struggle for corpsman advancement in the Navy is few and far between.
Okay. So being a military podcast, right? We just discussed the military. Now let's talk about the gaming portion of the podcast, right? So where does that all come into play? Kind of tell us about you, how you are, what you are, and then we're going to start cutting into a little bit deeper.
Okay. So I've pretty much always been a massive gamer nerd. I started out living in the country, playing Spyro, GTA, the originals. So basically all the first-person shooters that, you know, before online was really a thing. And being in the country, don't really have a lot of friends. And if you do, you got to ride your bike about an hour and a half just to get to them. So I played a lot of games and I was at home a lot. So I just ended up being more like an introverted nerd. And then I got a PlayStation when I joined the Navy and I started playing Call of Duty. And I was like, well, that's it for my social life. This is going to be me. I'm going to be an online gamer.
Yeah.
Just kind of my thing. And COVID hit and people were freaking out. And I was like, I'm still just going to be playing games. So
yeah.
I ended up
about COVID being good too for gamers, man.
All the introverts were like, "Oh man, first time inside."
Yeah. This your first time, huh?
So it was pretty good. I just love gaming, man. I used to be the dude that would only play Call of Duty for a while. I never wanted to branch out. Yeah, that was definitely me for a good like 6 years. And
dude, my folks hated it. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that like the craziest thing? Everyone's like, "Hey man, come play like Skyrim with us." And I'm like, "No, dude, I gotta go like bust hats, dude, on freaking Call of Duty." You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And
One of
all my folks hated it.
my best friend, he was like, "Man, branch out." I don't want to. I want to play COD. And then Infinite Warfare came out, and I was like, you know what? I'll get into some other games. I'll start playing some other things. And it's been great since then. I've drastically branched out. And I don't know, for me being in the military as a gamer, it always kind of felt like there's a lot of people just chilling in the barracks and playing games, but I've never until Regiment, I've never really seen a gaming military thing.
Yeah. And speaking of Regiment, how did this come to be? Did somebody tell you about Regiment, or did you just kind of come across it while looking up stuff?
I was actually in another military server that we've surpassed recently that's pretty well known to most people. I was just asking around for other servers, like if anybody knew about any teams. And one of the dudes in there, he mentioned Regiment. And at the time, Regiment was like 4 months old, and I think we had about 500-600 people. So it was pretty chill. I ended up joining, and it was cool. Met a bunch of the dudes, started playing with them, and then I kind of I got invited to become one of the onboarding brief people. So before we were as sophisticated as we are now, I used to give briefs about what Regiment was to the people coming in and update this tracker. And it was terrible. It was horribly, it wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't go to college. Organized. There we go. It wasn't terribly organized. And we had to do it like 3 times a week. Sometimes there would be like 6 people. Sometimes there would be 1 person, and we'd be having this weird one-on-one conversation about an onboard brief that's supposed to be to a group of people. And it's really just, hey, man, welcome to Regiment.
Yeah.
And then it's blossomed to what it is now, and I love it.
Yeah, speaking of that too. So going from, and how long ago was that when we were talking only 400 members?
Oh, June 2020? I think it was June 2020.
And then now sitting here a couple days ago, we reached 14,000 members in Regiment. How does that feel, man? Going from onboarding only a few to like at this point now.
It's insane to think about. I saw a Facebook memory last week that we were at 6,000 last year. So just in a year, we doubled.
Yeah.
And I think from December, we had about 8,000. So in about 6 months, we got 2,000. Then from December 2021 to now, we've damn near doubled.
Yeah.
It's crazy. TikTok definitely helped for sure.
Yeah. And I remember, and the only thing I exclusively remember from that was when obviously the Russia, or the what was it? That island that was talking shit to like Russia, and they're like, you need to do this. And they're like, fuck off or something like that. And you guys had like reshared it, and it got like removed, didn't it? Didn't TikTok?
We've had a few things get muted and removed,
which is whack, by the way. Ugh.
And we've used the same videos a lot of times, and for some reason one will get muted and one won't, but such is life on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's starting to drive me nuts too, because now they're only using like certain music that's like commercial, when the whole entire point when TikTok first came out was just kind of taking other people's content and just having fun with it. And then everybody just kind of blows up. And then now, like, I don't even know, when I go to TikTok, I don't even know any of the music that's usable anymore. And I just don't see the point. I don't know what their whole
it's all copyright free stuff. I think it has to do with the DMCA stuff. And one of the reasons it started getting Twitch in trouble a lot was the DMCA thing. And a lot of people started using music on TikTok, and the RIA doesn't like that, especially if it's for verified people and they're making money off of it. Regardless if they're not making money off it, they're still not happy because they're not getting paid for those listens. But I'm really feeling like that's where it's stemming from.
Yeah, I think it's so unfortunate too, because it's like, if I was a creative like that and I was on that kind of a platform, I don't care. Use the music. Like, let's go. Spread it around. Like, have a good time. But I mean, to be honest, like 2 years ago when I really started, like when Vine was kind of like a thing and people were like really using other people's content, I kind of had a problem with it because I was like, man, why are people blowing up off of using other people's content? You know what I'm saying? Like the lip syncing crap and the lip syncing other people's videos. But then now I'm at the point where it's like, it's all for the fun of the game. You know what I'm saying? And then in a majority of those TikTok videos, you can still find that original content and still be able to watch various types of it, which I think is a really cool thing. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. But
I think it should be separate. If you're making money off of it, I can understand the DMCA type stuff. And if you're just making videos, like just let people do their thing.
Like the creative, I guess Creative Commons or something like that, right? Like just be able to just whatever. We can all just create something off of it and have a good time, right?
But we're running off of a law that was made well before the internet was the way it is now.
Yeah, it's true. So Regiment, yeah, man, freaking huge. I remember bringing on Chris like 6 months ago on the KCP podcast and talking to him about it. And he was like, yeah, man, it's doing pretty good. And I think there's a lot of big things in the future. And then now we look at it now and it's just insane, man. The amount of things that we're doing, the outdoors as well, which is really cool, man. I really want to start looking into that once I start kind of getting out and about, because I think it's really neat that it's pretty much inspiring a lot of people that probably don't get out to get out. Right. And like the fishing tournament and things like that, man, really, really trying to convince people to kind of get out of their comfort zone and not only do just the gaming thing
significantly.
Yeah, right. But the gaming thing's been huge for a lot of folks.
And one of the things that we started doing that was when we collaborated with the Irreverent Warriors. I actually met him for the first time at Cincinnati Silky's Hike last year, and it's still crazy to think that Chris got out. He got out of the Marine Corps in like 2020, I think, and he started it when he was on his way out already. And just to think now of what he's accomplished with Regiment, the people he's partnered with, and he's like 23, 24 years old. It's crazy. Yeah. He's basically the military Nate Shot.
There you go. Dude, that was a good episode too, because I got like emotional halfway through it, man. And I just couldn't, like, my co-host was really taking over for me at the time. But like some of the stuff he was telling me that he was like helping out vets and just everything that Regiment was doing, I was like, man, this is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? I got hot and emotional. But
he's done most of it by himself too.
The dude's a beast, man. It's just simple as that. Somebody keeps telling me to put a picture of him as a baby in the background, man. I don't know if I'm going to do that.
That would be you should cherish that and frame it and put it up in your apartment.
Yeah.
And if you have a significant other, even better.
He'll be like,
just to ask. It's just if they ask about it, like, we don't ask questions about this child.
We don't ask questions. Who's that in the background? No. Nope.
Just praise it. That's fine.
So, psychiatric technician, is this something that you're doing inside of the Navy, or what does your job look like in the Navy? And then okay, cool. So what is that? What does that entail? What does that look like for people who don't know what it is?
So for the Navy, we start out as corpsmen. So I went to Corps school back when it was in Great Lakes. And the Navy always tells us corpsmen first. In some cases it is. And if you're in the top of your class, you get what we call a C school or a secondary specialty school. So you can get like lab tech, x-ray, etc.
Okay.
I had the option for psych tech. And I was like, oh, I liked psych back in high school. Let me do that. I seem to be the person that people want to talk to when they're feeling sad. Let's go to psych school. Ended up having like an omen while I was in school. Two of my friends ended up reporting like active suicide thoughts that they had. Weren't happy with me at the time, which was expected, because I mean, if someone is feeling that way and they want to do it, they're not going to be happy that you stop them immediately. But they ended up thanking me afterwards. It was a pretty emotional thing. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm in the right field. And I ended up started out on an inpatient unit in San Diego, which was amazing because you get to see the real mental health in the military and a few civilians as well, which is significantly more intense than the military. The military mental health is a lot of anxiety, depression, ADHD. I want to get out. I don't want to train. Those types of things. And it can be kind of monotonous depending on where you're at. And I've honestly loved it. I've gotten to be blessed with a lot of areas of places I've gotten to experience and things I've gotten to do, I'm essentially like a mini psychologist that can't diagnose for the most part, operationally, I'll say anyways. And it's great. It's nothing like being a regular corpsman and doing medical stuff. Whereas on the side, it can be fun, and it's fun to mess with Marines, but it's also good to be able to have that Marine that knows you're a corpsman, but also knows that you specialize in mental health and he can talk to you about his bullshit.
And then, because I'm Air Force, right? So I don't understand. Corpsman what exactly is that? Is that just grunt?
This is the Navy's medical.
Navy's what?
This is the Navy's medical.
Medical?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you happen to Google like most decorated job in the military, Navy corpsman will come up. Because they're the ones that go out with the Marines. Sometimes we'll go individual augmentee to like Air Force or Army. Okay. But they're called corpsmen mainly because you got to think Marine Corps. But it's 1898 was when they started. So one of the reasons that corpsmen are more cocky than like a medic or somebody is because the Navy lets us do more than what we would ever get to do on the outside.
Okay.
So like in a military facility, if I'm working on a patient or in the field on deployment in a battle zone, we're authorized to do a hell of a lot more than an average person with our type of training. Like we can give out fentanyl and I can't think of what it is. It's a painkiller basically when you're dying.
Ibuprofen? No.
No, that's what we give to everybody.
The what's that? The
starts with an M, and I can't think of it. Brain blockage.
Yeah. Wow.
Morphine.
There it is.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I was thinking about like Battlefield 1 for some reason, dude.
Public school knowledge right there. And granted, we can only ever have it if it were in like the middle of a battle zone and everything. But the fact that we get to do it is insane.
Yeah. Okay. Corpsman, medical, the name's Doc. So you were talking to me about that before we went live. How did that name come to be? You said people just started calling you that, and then you just kind of haven't had a name since. So what's the birth of Doc?
Yeah, so generally Doc is for Marines or for corpsmen that are with Marines. So what we call green side. So generally it's with the grunt unit. It can be with another Marine unit, and they're going to call you Doc. But the best ones are the ones with the grunt units. I was with 3rd Marines. I'm sorry, 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines over in Camp Lejeune. And we're like God to them. And we're just Doc. They don't really know our ranks. They're not the smartest of people. And when they are smart, they do dumb things very well. It's a love-hate relationship. And we're just Doc to them. Like, we don't really have a name. Once I got with them, everyone started calling me Doc. So I kind of lost my actual name. Since I've been in the military, I don't think I've heard my first name until I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
And now...
And then you hear it and you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, what's a name I haven't heard in years? And now everyone just calls me Doc. So I go to the Zilgis hikes. It's like, hey, Doc. I go to the hospital. They see an FMF pin. They're like, hey, what's going on, Doc? Rarely do I get called by my actual name anymore. It's pretty nice though, because it's like a title that you have to earn. Because Marines don't always call the corpsman Doc. If they're calling you Doc, that means that they trust you and they trust you with their life to be able to save them and treat them.
Okay.
Because if they're not calling you Doc, they don't respect you.
Huh. The more you know. Jesus. Okay. I'm going to cut you into this, and then I'm trying to, because it's driving me nuts here, and my camera's so white, man. It's driving me nuts. So I'm going to try to download this software for my Logitech camera just so I can.
I know how I feel. I know how you feel.
Yeah. I just don't want it to look like garbage for other people. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So
increase my saturation.
If I even had the option, man.
Gotta get that Elgato cam, man.
I got the Logitech webcam, man.
Oh, it's terrible.
Hey, I used to have the Razer, man. I used to have the Razer.
You out here making Air Force money with a Logitech camera.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, this one's actually pretty all right, dude.
You bought a Camaro, didn't you? That's where your money went.
No, actually, dude, I balled out with a '05 Corolla, 250,000 miles on it for the first 4 years. And then now I finally have a 17 Silverado.
Oh, so you back out your driveway and fill it back up with gas. Got it.
Yes.
Understood.
Yes. And it's ass.
Instead of $20 to back out of the driveway, it's $40 now. So.
Yeah, it's trash, man. All right, it looks like I'm not gonna be able to find this yet, so it's fine. It'll have to wait. Now it looks better. I don't know, why does it look like this now? This
to me,
looks
it looks
great.
the same. It looks the same, but I'm colorblind.
Really?
So.
Right now it looks great. I don't know. Well, I'm colorblind on like one eye.
What? That's terrible.
No, I don't think I really am. Just sometimes I see like a cooler version of things in a different eye. It's super weird. I don't know, dude. I think I'm a robot, dude. I'm pretty sure.
Sure. Are you seeing things?
I'm inhuman.
We need to get you evaluated.
I shoot dead people. All right. Back on the military topic, right? So 12 years. You're E5, correct?
Now, yeah, it took me about 9 years to make it.
And is E4 NCO for you, or E5 starts NCO? I can't remember exactly.
It kind of depends. Technically, the Navy recognizes E4 as an NCO, but most of the Navy kind of sees E4 as the same as E3 because a lot of what we call rates or jobs will pick up E4 either right out of school or just really quickly. Okay. But corpsmen, we kind of take after the Marines, where corporal is a big thing to them. It's NCO status. And that means something. And it means something when we're over there. And also because it takes so long for us to pick up rank generally. Yeah. It means something to us because generally it means that if you're an E4 as a corpsman, you've probably been in maybe 6 years. Probably about 5-6 years, and you got some experience. Okay. So this is going to be a loaded question, but I think you're going to know how to answer it just fine. But this is going to kind of tie into a few things, right? So excuse me, you've been in for 12 years, right? So you've had your fair share of leadership. You've seen a fair share of leadership. And now to a degree, you've kind of been leadership for a little bit here. But you said you wanted to talk about mental health for a little bit, which is phenomenal. And I think everybody really needs to dive into that. Right. But having a lack of good leadership, let's put it that way, can kind of tend to lead to kind of mental health, I guess, issues somewhat down the road. You know what I'm saying? Where, and I think people, they kind of need to kind of figure things out on their own, right? And they kind of need to find their own version of drive. And especially when you don't have that figure that's above you, that's really actually helping you out with that. So I guess my first question is kind of, when you're in a situation where you have poor leadership and it doesn't look like there's actually a way out of that, even when you do try to talk to your superior and then your superior bullshits you, and then you try to go around and you say, hey, I talked to this person, I didn't like what I received and it's not helping me. Can you help me? And you're not getting that. For people in a situation like that, what kind of advice do you kind of have for them to start? Now, when you say they asked around, who have they talked to? Well, so say that you're an E4, right? And you talk to your E5, your E5's like, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck about you. And you go around to another E5 and they give you the same answer. And now you get into the position where you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to need to go to an E6 about this kind of whatever it is. Or just in general, your leadership is just not there for you. What kind of advice do you kind of have for people in a situation similar to that? So I'd say each branch is a little bit different. For the Navy, it's really easy to go into another shop or department because everyone on the ship tends to, unless you're on a carrier, everyone tends to know everybody's business or at least know each other. Okay. Just honestly going around, asking a friend who works in another department. If you want to go, hell, you can go up to the E7 level and talking to them, because at some point, for one, the Navy specifically and military in general is known for shit leadership. It's made news articles. We know it's there. Yeah. And it seems to barely be changing. It's a very slow trickle. And talking to somebody about it, hell, you could just go straight to medical and bring it up, because then it's documented. And medical has a thing where we say all patients lie, but that's mainly because patients can tend to lie, like alcohol, for example. Oh, I only drink 2 beers a night. It's a whole bottle. Yeah, it's like a running joke, but if you tell someone about it, then it's going to get addressed. And then, so medical, we've been able to talk to commands and get clarification about what's going on. You don't have to ask your command to go to medical. A lot of people tend to think that they have to ask to go to medical, And in a sense, yes, for accountability purposes, but that doesn't mean that you can be prevented from going to medical.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more junior you are, the easier it is to get into somebody's head that they're not allowed to do anything unless you say so. So getting that person to help you out, asking advice. Hell, you could be in a voice chat with Regiment talking to somebody. And I've seen people do it. I've seen people post in the I don't pay attention to the other branches, but in the Navy chat specifically, they've asked about like toxic leadership. If someone was going through something, a couple dudes were going through some legal stuff at the time, and they asked how did they go about something, and people either responded in the chat or they would just DM them themselves.
I love that. So that's pretty. Now we have two answers, right? One of them being just talk to people. Two of them, boom, slam yourself right into Regiment GG, man. Start talking to people, seeing if somebody can help you. I love that. My main thing too is like I just don't want somebody out there to think that they're stuck, in that kind of position. I've talked to my NCO already. I went around and I didn't hear anything from them either. So I'm just stuck. I'm stuck in this shithole thinking that this is the way it's always going to be. So I'm glad that you said that, right? Talk to people. And
it's easy to think that because in the military, we can't just quit our job and be like,
no,
peace, I'm out.
Yeah.
You, in a sense, you are stuck, but you're not as stuck as what you think.
So you also talked about kind of digging your way to your own success. And if you were Army, I could have made a pretty sweet fucking joke, but you're not, so I can't.
Damn, no Navy jokes? I'm shocked.
I don't have any, man.
You're the only person. I was expecting like on your knees, something about
swabbing the deck or something.
People. Yeah, there could be a million of them.
Yeah, but so you say that you've dug your way to success. So I kind of want to unfold that a little bit. Don't have to unfold everything, but kind of, especially for other folks that you think could use it, kind of what did that look like for you? And kind of, what do you really mean by digging your way to your success?
Well, I was on my knees.
On my knees.
So in a not literal sense, it's kind of how it was for me. And just the way the Navy's specific advancement system is. You guys take a test in the Air Force, right? To advance for advancement.
Yes, for E5, E6, and then it's done after that. They've for Master Sergeant now. It's I can't remember. It's like board. You go to
so board based. Yeah. Do you guys? Is it just a test, or is there like a pros and cons evaluation type thing too?
I think that probably goes into it somewhere, some way. But as far as I know, especially for E5, it's just, your job knowledge and then Air Force knowledge. And then if somebody got an 87, you got an 88, they're like, the 88 goes, you know what I'm saying? But okay. I'm sure there's probably somewhere, some way, someone's like, yeah, but you know what? We're going to, you know what I'm saying? And some people,
okay. Just curious. I actually found out, I think 3 years ago that the Air Force takes a test. Had no idea.
Yeah.
So the way we do is we have a test. Generally, we have a test about our job, and there's some Navy knowledge sprinkled in there. And we also have, it's significantly less than it used to be.
Yeah.
And then we have our evaluations. For corpsmen specifically, if you don't have the top best evaluation, doesn't matter how you're doing on the test, you're not getting advanced.
Yeah.
It's not mathematically possible. It can be very disheartening and frustrating for a lot of good corpsmen out there that just kind of either get screwed. They just don't get the top eval. So it's hard for them to advance. A few years ago, they came out with this meritorious advancement program, or what we call MAP. And that's how I got picked up to E5. And it's ultimately, you got to have the top eval. You got to be doing everything from volunteer work, school work, major military collaterals, command collaterals, which you look puzzled.
Me?
So yes.
Oh, I'm just taking it all in, man. So, the only thing I know is Air Force. So
recently found out that the Navy is the only one that has collaterals, meaning we'll do about 9 other jobs that are actual jobs in the military. So like, that'd be like me doing security forces, admin, and medical all together, but I'm only in the promotion for medical. Yes. So it's yeah. Welcome to our world.
Oh,
The Navy calls them collaterals.
Wow. Okay.
So we have to do multiple duties. It stems from way back in the day on the ship. So if someone dies on a ship, you lose somebody, you got to know how to do their job when the ship's going down. Because you can't be on ship in the middle of the sea and you're like, I don't know how to steer the ship.
I mean, it definitely makes you more lethal, but it's like not being able to be graded based on the security forces work that you did while being medical. I mean, that's huge, man. Being able to be a cop and a doc at the same time, like that would be really cool on an eval. But I don't know.
It would be cool if it was a possibility or not expected.
Yeah.
Now for the Navy, it's expected. If you're not doing 9 other things, you're like, oh, you're not competitive.
Wow.
So took on a lot of things. I was the president of the Junior Enlisted Association on my command. I don't think I left work until probably about 1800 most nights. And ended up getting advanced. I cried. Straight up. Took me 9 years. And now I'm back on the grind.
Okay. So I guess you would say for advice for people that may think that they're kind of stuck and they kind of want to show themselves and kind of, hey man, I'm more than, what these people think I am, is be versatile, I guess, or just get their hands as many pots as possible, or what kind of advice do you have for folks?
Kind of. I used to tell my junior sailors at my last command that would feel like they were doing a lot and they just weren't getting recognized for it. Eventually, good work gets recognized. The way to society tends to be now is if you do one thing wrong, that's the thing that gets noticed. And you got the people that suck up, the people that complain, and they're going to get noticed first because they're the loudest. They're the loudest ones. But you can't ignore, or you can only ignore good quality work and work ethic for so long. And it's going to get noticed. So I keep telling them, keep pushing, because you're going to get noticed. It's impossible to not have a major impact and not get noticed at some point. And that's what I did. I just built up that work and I got recognized eventually. It just took a while.
Yeah.
They say good things come to those that wait. In this case, it's true. And for people at least in the Navy, military, if you're trying to advance or do something, you're not getting noticed, keep doing it, because you can't ignore quality work that long. It can only be for so long. The loudest people are going to go away because people are going to notice, oh, they're just being loud. They're not producing anything.
Yeah. Because I always say that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but there's a lot of good cases where I don't know, certain things just kind of bite people in the ass, and they're like, man, we should have had, Joe Schmo doing this. When you look at his record, every single time he's done this, it's been to 100%. It's never been to a 95%. It's never been to a 90%. This man has consistently put 100% in, right? One of my best sayings right now too is give 100, you get 100, right? And I guess, I mean, it's getting it later is, I mean, it's got its pros and cons, but at the end of the day, I mean, you gained a little bit more experience, right? And I feel like that's good as an NCO, really being able to have that on your back. And then at the same time, being able to get to certain positions, right? Just because it's kind of weird, like the way that I operate, right? Like when I was just an airman, my sole job was just to be an airman, right? You just soak in everything. You're just a freaking sponge, right? That's your only job. And then now as an NCO, people consistently ask me, like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm in a position right now where being a staff sergeant, my only goal right now is to be the best staff sergeant that I can be, right? And I want to be able to take care of my folks and take care of my troops. But at the end of the day, in order to be the best NCO that you can be possible, is you need to know kind of where you want to go, and you need to know where you can go in order to motivate and build the airmen that are coming up before you, right?
Significantly, yeah.
Or with you.
So then there's that experience level too.
Yeah.
Like
because if they ask you, how do I do this? And you're like, well, I don't know. And then now you're not being the best NCO that you can be, right?
Exactly. Then they just look at you like, oh, you just happened to do, like, you sucked your way to the top.
Yeah. You just got there, like, you the 95%.
Yeah, you don't know anything. You're a terrible staff sergeant. Like, you don't, if you advance too quickly, but you don't take that into effect.
I advanced quickly, man. I've only been in for 4.5 years, and I already got staff on. Now, granted, I worked for it, man. This is something I wanted since the minute I joined. I wanted to be a staff sergeant the minute I joined. I still remember people saying, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Now here I am. And I'm like, yes, I did, and I'm really ready to do it. But you're always going to have those people that are like, oh, you probably accidentally circled B and they gave you that 80% that granted you the victory. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
There's always those people that are going to have that, especially if they're female. People are always going to have that stigma. But all that really matters is they got it. They got there somehow. There was some work involved because there's always a paper trail. So.
And I guess I kind of want to take that opportunity just to kind of say too, is like my main thing is like, I don't like to judge people, you know, like we all do it, you know what I'm saying? We all sit back and we kind of go, you know, because we're all human, man. That's the way our brains work. Right. But at the end of the day, like my biggest thing is like, you don't know somebody's story, you know, and like a couple shows of, I keep bringing up this show when I'm talking to Navy cats, man, but NCIS, and they just kind of talk about, they kind of talk about certain things, but it's funny because they'll go into depth about certain people's stories. And from the outside, you go, man, this dude's a loser. But then you learn the story and you're like, oh my God, you know? So
that's how I am with my patients. Cause there's some people where I genuinely feel for them. And there's some people where I'm like, you're just a little bitch.
Yeah.
But that doesn't affect
you have them. You got them.
It's 100%, but that doesn't affect how I'm dealing with them on a professional level. Regardless, they're still going to get the same treatment. I'm still going to listen to them. I'm not going to judge them while they're there. Once I write the note and I'm done, I can be like, man, that guy was a little bitch. Or I can be like, oh man, they're going through some shit.
Yeah, because I never want to be faced with the inconsistency. You know what I'm saying? You tell me that you give people 100 out of 100 every single day so you can get 100, but then you gave this guy 95, and then boom, that blows all my credibility out the window, right? So I like that you said that. You said you kind of wanted to talk about mental health a little bit too. I kind of want you to guide that since you do assist with that, and I'm sure you've probably received a couple phone calls, as have I, and it's a very emotional topic, but let's see. Do you do any mental health work outside of your job in the military? Like, do you? I know Stack Up has their phone calls that they stand by waiting for people to call in. Kind of what is that for you? What do you kind of do?
I do. I'm part of the national leadership for Irreverent Warriors. Those silky sacks that we've been going on.
Okay, and for folks who don't know, can you give us a brief summary on that?
Yeah, so Irreverent Warriors, I don't know if you've ever heard of Vet TV, but it was started by Donnie O'Malley. I mean, it was started by him, and then he went off to make money doing Vet TV.
Okay.
And it's very Marine heavy. Sometimes the Air Force will get, they'll check their email and they'll come out to the hikes. We just have to apologize that the AC isn't working. And it's great. I had always wanted to go to one of them and ended up getting stationed in Chicago. I'm like, oh, big city, there's got to be a hike here.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. I'm like, this is unacceptable. So I emailed them and I'm like, hey, I want to put on a hike in Chicago. And who we call Mama, she's the president of the organization, Mama Cindy. She entrusted with me. They brought us out to the Black Rifle Coffee Ranch house.
Nice. Okay.
And we got to go. We revamped the mission, goals, and the motto, the mission statement, mission, vision, and goals. And I, for the next 6 months, planned to hike in Chicago, which was terrible. It was the most red taped thing I've ever had to do. I had never been to a Silkies hike. My first hike coordinating and attending was the same thing. Don't recommend, but it was amazing. And it's one of the most frustrating things. If you've ever been to a Silkies hike, they're amazing. When you're the people that are planning it, you hate life for the 6 months while you're putting it on. And then you see everyone out there. You see all the people having connections. You listen to the stories where people will come up to you and tell you, like the Vietnam vet that came out to his first hike, and he's like, I never felt like I was in the fight and back in the fight until now. Those are the type of moments that are incredible because he'd been living his life since the 70s, 80s. And just living. Or barely living, I should say. And he said he felt like he was back in the fight after attending one hike. So people get to be themselves. And I love seeing that and hearing those stories, and it puts all of that work 100% worth it. And ever since I left that area, I'm like, I can't abandon this organization. Yeah. So I ended up doing, I manage the social media, Twitter, and I do their Discord, and which made me want to be like, all right, if I'm doing the gaming section of this, I want to collaborate with Regiment, get all the gamer nerds off the couch for a day.
Yeah.
Come out and see each other in person.
Yeah.
Got Chris to his first hike, or I saw him in Cincinnati, which I think was his first hike. Dude was wearing shorts. I was highly disappointed that he wasn't in silkies. He was in basketball shorts. Still disappointed, Chris. And it was amazing. And then we started putting them on our events and getting more regiment people out there. So every hike this year, I've worn a regiment shirt, I've flown the regiment flag, so I can attract all those introverted gamer dudes and girls out to an in-person event. And then I've noticed we're starting to do more events with regiment, which is insane. Like, just going back to insane to think of how far we've come in the past 2 years.
Well, dude, and the cycle's like incredible, because you think about like the whole origin of regiment was just to kind of give vets something to do. Like, hey, don't stay at home and only do nothing, you know? Like, let's do some streaming. Let's get you on a stream. Let's get you playing the games that you enjoy in front of people that want to watch you, you know, this and that. And then now we're getting those cats outside to go and meet each other, go out and hiking, and just, it's like this cool little cycle, man. And it's like, it's incredible, you know? Yeah, dude. And I'm happy for you, man. I'm proud of you and everything that you're doing, dude. It's sweet.
That's what got me into regiment too, it's so similar to Irreverent Warriors, what I was doing. It was just my gaming passion. It was basically the same mission. You get vets together, and it was kind of inclusive to just vets, because we can be our dark selves. We can have that that irreverent sense of humor. We can joke about some suicide jokes, or joke about somebody getting blown up in Afghanistan. And it's funny to us, and if you know who you're talking to, it's funny in that sense. Yeah. Where in the civilian world, we're going to be like, we need to commit this guy. Somebody call the police now. Yeah. And we just can't talk about that. And regiment is the online sector for what I felt like I was getting at the hikes.
It's like a virtual smoke pit, man.
Exactly.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No pun intended, bro.
And I don't know about you, but as a Call of Duty player, playing with veterans is a hell of a lot better. You got shooter right hallway. You're giving cardinal directions versus he's over there.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you for telling me where he was. Over there. I love that direction.
I love that way. That's a great place to be at.
He's right here. Yes, right here. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, that literally happened to me like a couple weeks ago. We were just playing, and somebody was like, he's over there. And I'm like, wow, I love that. That's amazing. I would have never survived if you didn't give me that call out. Where's he at? Over there? Okay.
I mean, I would expect it from the Air Force, but
come on. I'm like a little bit like, I don't know.
Are you in your dorm right now? Is that where we are?
No. So I'm at my second base. I'm at in my apartment. Base. Yeah, I'm at like 2 bases at one time. You know what I'm saying? No, so I started off in Minot, North Dakota. Man, I was there for 4 years. Now I'm over here in, say New Mexico. I don't want to call out my exact location, but in New Mexico, in an apartment that's too much, but whatever. The cost of living here is kind of ridiculous, but it's cool, man. But
none of us can ever listen to the Air Force's struggles and be like, man, y'all got it bad.
Yeah, no, totally. And I totally get it.
I love messing with my Air Force friends.
No, for sure. The dorms are pretty cool. They are pretty cool.
See, that's one of the reasons that we hate y'all. Just the fact that you have it nice enough that they're called dorms.
Yeah. Well, some of them weren't as cool. Some of them we're talking straight barracks, whatever you want to call them.
How much extra did you get paid to be there?
Nothing. Actually, you don't get paid to be there. You actually do have to move off base in order to get that BAH. And then living here too, the BAH is less than what I'm paying for rent, which is actually, I think I'm losing out on like $200, $300.
It's not terrible. It's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but I'm definitely not in a boat where I feel I'm probably going to cut this out of the show, but I'm definitely not in a position where I feel confident right now. But I mean, it is what it is.
Nah, leave it in.
Yeah, leave it in.
Vulnerability. Gotta
be real. Vulnerability.
Can't be afraid to be vulnerable, man.
No, it's just like it's one of those things, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm finally good on all fronts, but yeah, you know what? I'll be honest about it. You know, my financial situation isn't the best. It's nowhere close to where I want to be. But that's what time in life is for, right? And that's what I want to work at for the next couple months. That's kind of my upcoming goals and kind of what I want to tackle head on, right? Is that financial piece. I feel like being 24 years of age, I really need to start getting that shit in order.
Little whippersnapper over here.
Hey, man, fucking young whippersnappers.
I turned 31 on Sunday, man.
Yeah, man, you excited or what?
No, I wasn't excited. I'm excited for the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
Once it's past 29, you're like, oh, the big 3-0. I get a free dinner now, I guess.
They say the dirty 30. I'm seeing that for some reason on social media everywhere.
I'm still young. Don't get me wrong, but that PRT cycle though, moving into that next bracket.
There you go.
Oh, you mentioned the vulnerability thing though.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I want to say is keep it in is I actually get that question from generally in the Navy chiefs and above, so E7, E8, E9.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of the officers, they're like, how do I don't want to seem like I'm coming to mental health. What are my juniors going to think? Yeah. And I tell them, if I was your junior and I needed to see mental health and you, were open about that you had seen it, I would feel a lot more comfortable talking to you about it, or at least the resources, how to get it. Because one, I'd be like, oh, he understands. She understands. They get it. They've been there. They know the resources. They know what I need to do. And they're also not afraid to tell me about it. They're not like, oh, I'm an E7. I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
They have that vulnerability to say, hey, I've struggled before.
Yeah.
If you're having struggles, I'm willing to tell you about some of those struggles. Be that vulnerability, still keeping that professional line and getting them the help that they need. But that's the difference between a good leader and a toxic leader.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no such thing as being too experienced to talk to somebody about what might be going on. You know what I'm saying? But even, I mean, time has shown us, man. Some of the head honchos, man, are going through some of the hardest stuff. You know, or quite literally, the people that you think have it the best and are the happiest and always have a smile on their face have probably been through some of the worst stuff.
Yeah, those are usually the ones I'm more worried about too.
Yeah, right. The ones that are always smiling.
People always talk about you think about the negative stuff, like, oh, giving away your things, all the negative stuff that you see. And I'm like, that's cool. We all know those things. It's ultimately a deviation of character. What's different? So if you got the gamer nerd dude that's introverted, he might talk every so often, but then all of a sudden he's going out partying with you guys on the weekends. He's chatting up a storm. He's screwing the new E3. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Might be a little bit of suppression there, huh?
Yeah. Everyone thinks like, oh yeah, he's just getting out more. He's having a good time. Maybe he's just feeling better. In reality, that's feeling his way. He's suppressing feeling something. And most people don't notice that. They don't think about the deviation of character. They only see the negative things that we're all taught about versus how most things tend to look, actually.
And I like that you mentioned that for some of the folks that are going to be watching that are at this specific part right here that do want to take more notice to some of this stuff. What are some other signs that people don't really talk about that could be indicators for something like that?
That's one of the things is ultimately a deviation of character. So if you're a leader, you have to know your people. So you've got to know, like myself, if you don't know that I'm a gamer and I kind of just stay home, you're not going to know. You're just, if you don't know your people in the leadership sense, I was telling my sister actually the other day, because she just commissioned and she got her 1 salute, and I was telling her how to get her enlisted. Yeah, she's making more money. I was telling her how to get her enlisted to feel more comfortable with her. I'm like, if they can talk to you, you're never going to get them to talk to you like how they talk to each other or another enlisted person. It's always going to be fake because you're an officer. Mm-hmm. But if you can get them to talk to you as comfortable as possible within that professional boundary, that's the goal. And that's how a quality, like for an officer, that's how a quality person in leadership does it for that. For an E7, E6, E5 that's in leadership, if you don't know your people, you don't know what's different. So you don't know if I'm the gamer and then I'm going out partying to even ask me why. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to ask. Nowadays, I'm confident to say that most people will have someone around them that if something negative was truly going on and that was how they were presenting, was like they're sleeping more, they're just not doing anything. The typical aspects we know of, they're going to get asked about it. It's the person that doesn't want to show that, and they're going the opposite way about it. It's just noticing the little things, taking the time to actually ask it, because when we all go to these trainings and we're like, yeah, I would ask someone. How many of us have done it? And then are willing to admit, is it awkward? Yeah, it's awkward. Even in patient settings with myself, I'm obligated to ask people if they're feeling suicidal. Rarely does it feel comfortable. It's not an easy question to ask, but it's the question, even asking if someone, hey, are you all right? Taking that time to listen and expecting a real answer from them and not just, hey, are you all right? And then hoping nothing else happens. Because people pick up on that too.
Yeah, and I think everybody gets that nervousness too of when, as soon as you open your mouth and say, hey, man, are you okay? You start getting that thought of what happens if they say no?
Exactly.
And what happens, you know what I'm saying? And that's where, I mean, obviously you got to be prepared to either take them wherever you can or just be able to have whatever knowledge and experience in your mind to be able to like sit down and have that conversation with them and be like, hey, man, you know what? Let's talk this out a little bit. But no, okay, so just continue. Sorry. It's just as soon as you said, are you all right? I had that thought in my mind. It's like, now what if they say no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people ask it all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, man, how's it going? You generally hear, oh, living the dream.
Yeah.
Not so great. Surviving. Mm-hmm. I'll do it as my own sociology experiment. Is people that I work with that are in the mental health field, I'll give them iffy answers like, oh, surviving, just to see if they continue up, if they follow up, if they're paying attention to the answer, and if they're at least asking and then also listening.
Yeah.
To keep my own people in check.
I mean, no, keep going. Sorry.
No, by all means.
I was going to say, I'm glad you said that, because I think that's one of the main things that kind of aided in my last unit is, unlike a lot of people, like when I was in the hallway and I'd be like, hey, man, how you doing? And somebody'd be like, I'm all right. I'd be like, what? Hold on, man. How was your weekend? What'd you do this weekend? Did you get out? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm a big advocate. I'm so glad you said it, is just getting to know your people, because that's the main thing. And I know that's becoming a really big thing right now in the military, is people are starting to really take notice to that. Hey, you need to understand your people in order to help your people. You can't help somebody you know nothing about, because you're going to end up giving an apple when they wanted a banana. You know, this is a real broad example, but things of that nature, right? Really understanding your people. And it didn't matter who you were in the hall. I passed you. Hey, good to see you, sir. How you doing today? What? And then I would just kind of, and I think people really took notice to that. And I feel like, I guess my moral of what I'm saying right here is that I think a lot more people need to be like that. I feel like most people do care, but I mean, people just for some reason don't show it. And I don't know why. Like I think people get stuck in this kind of like, where they got to either put on this like tough guy image, or they got to put on this certain image, when it's like, at the end of the day, man, I don't really think anybody lays on their deathbed saying, hey, I should have been more of an asshole,
No, but I think I would say, ask if you can handle it. Because if you're not doing the greatest, like you're getting by, you're doing all right, but you're not mentally where you want to be, or you don't have the capacity to take on someone else's stuff, can be a reason. But understanding that, and hell, even if you happen to say, hey, what's going on, telling someone that you're not able to handle or mentally take on what they're going through is okay. we never want to say that because we feel like we're blowing the other person off. But in reality, when I've heard that one time ever, someone was like, hey, I'm not really able to take on this conversation, man. I'm just not mentally with it. I personally was way more appreciative of that because one, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not just opening myself up, pouring it out. And then he was like, sucks, man.
Yeah, giving me that like A/B answer and, not even
embrace it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And they're more appreciative of it. It is what it is.
It's like, it's funny because I hate that but when you actually look into the original like meaning and where it is what it is came from, you're like, oh wow, man, that's real deep. But I mean, you could do that with anything. You know what I'm saying? We can have that conversation all day. You could take one basic answer and make it like this godly, like, oh my God, straight out of the Bible or something, right?
Yeah.
But
so you mentioned your E6.
I like that.
Staff Sergeant?
E5 staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tech Sergeant is E6.
Yes.
Okay. Air Force is one of the ranks that I know the least.
Hey, yeah, I should probably know all the ranks, and I just don't. But
no,
I know Air Forces, but that's it.
The Navy's the weirdest. We're the only ones where the officers are different. Just curious.
We should have Master Chief though, because every time I hear Master Chief, I'm like, oh, Halo. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, y'all took Space Force from us, so how many TVs you've seen where it's not the Navy because it's a space ship?
Man, I wish we could have had Top Gun, man.
Overrated.
It's all right.
Overrated.
You think Top Gun's overrated?
Overrated.
I love Top Gun.
As a Navy person, overrated.
I just love it because I feel like it's one of those few movies that you can watch and you can walk away and adopt that kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those kind of things. Everybody starts wearing the aviators and everyone's wearing
too moto for me. I want the real stuff. Show me what the military is really like. I'm a thank you for your service movie kind of guy.
Oh, there you go.
It's tear jerking.
So most of it just a bunch of smoke pit shit talking, dude.
Exactly.
If they really want a military movie.
But one of my favorite things is I love throwing off my leaders and asking them how they're doing.
Yeah.
Because back when I was an E4 and even as an E5, how many people you think are asking the E7s, E8s, E9s how they're doing when they're probably holding a lot more on their plate than
I was going to say I was the only one. That's why I think I stood out a little bit.
That's fair.
Because I was always I don't mean to.
They don't want to be in. They married the dancer off base, keeping everybody at home when they don't want to go home. Those type of situations.
Yeah.
But who's asking them how they're doing?
Nobody. Well, now I think I think
it's getting better.
A little bit, yeah. But no,
that's one of the cliche ones that I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
It's a lower enlisted type thing where you just don't think to ask your superiors how they're doing because you're like, oh, they've already gotten this far. They've got to be doing fine, right? But they're still human. Yeah. They may have gotten that far, yeah. But that doesn't mean they're immune to life.
Yeah. And I think I adopted that attitude like very short on just because of everything I was trying to do and where I wanted to go. And I'm like, this dude, like my thing, even before I was in the military, like I was the guy that would get the phone call like, hey man, I'm done. Like I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm done with it. And I've had a lot of conversations where the phone call does not end with a gunshot, right? And I'll always hold that, right? So then coming in and then being like, I want to get to the point where I'm an NCO and where I have a couple airmen that I can kind of, I can kind of take under my wing and really build and kind of get them to the point where they want to be, right? And show them where they can, their directions that they can go. And I really started analyzing that. And I'm like, I'm thinking about all this and all that weight that's on your shoulders, but I'm not even there yet. So I start thinking about my supervisor and the fact that he's doing that already for 5 people. And I'm like, where I'm at mentally, like this dude might be in that same boat. So I really adopted the whole kind of take care of your supervisor type of mentality, right? Hey, Soup, what do you need from me? What do I need to do? Not kissing ass, but like, what can I do to get you home earlier? Because all of my NCOs, they have families, they have kids, they have this, but they're staying later than me when I'm a fucking brand new airman. And my only job is to come in and do this fucking job, man. That's it. And then I go home. So why am I the one that goes home first? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I had a problem with very early on. So I was like, hey, Soup, what can I do to make sure that you can get home to your family and your kids and what you got going on? And then, like you mentioned, right, some of those supervisors, they'll tell you, hey, man, I re-enlisted just because it was my only option to pay the bills and to put food on the plate for my family and my kids. And it's like, yo, that's weight, man. That's weight. And that's where I kind of adopted that whole, hey, how you doing today? Are you sure you're doing good today? You know, blah, 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 blah. And it's just that genuine caring for people. And it's like, some people will call it cheesy, but it's like, man, I hate that, you know, because this life shit ain't a joke, man. We all get caught in this, like, it's another day. It's another dollar. Let's just blah, 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 blah. Life's easy. Life's whatever. No, man, there's going to be that second of the day where like it's going to hit you, where you're going to realize, man, life is not a fucking joke, dude. And you can torment yourself. You can absolutely torment yourself if you just simply don't talk to people, you know?
I'm always telling all the younger cats that, you know, people your age.
Yeah.
People your age that the phone. So the phones, I tell people like who likes, I'm like one who has an iPhone. And
phones. Yeah.
Do you have an iPhone?
I do, but I'm gonna talk to you about this in a second. I don't like my phone, but
go. So you just live on the charger then? All right.
No, go. You go and then I go.
So I make fun of iPhone people for having dead batteries all the time, but I'm like, we're the same as our phone. No matter what, you don't want a dead battery. So let's say you've been using your phone all day. For an iPhone person, you've been using it for 20 minutes and you're on like 30% battery and you're going out tonight and you're like, oh, I got to charge my phone. You know, you're not going to get a full charge. Plug it in. You might get 10%. If you got a fast charge, you might get 50%. The goal is to keep it as far from zero as possible. Yeah. We're the same as our phones. We don't want our battery to go dead. And when we're just constantly being drained, what are we doing to recharge? What are you doing for that hour a day, that 30 minutes to get that 10% charge to not have a dead battery? And I tend to be kind of philosophical and have things to compare to in that sense. So this is one of the things to get people to be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You don't want your battery to go dead. So like gaming for me, that's how I recharge my battery. Right.
I used to be like that, but I just can't. Like the gaming just doesn't do it for me.
How dare you?
How dare you say that? And I'm like in a gaming team, man.
How dare you?
Yeah, you know. The audacity, dude. The audacity, Karen. I like that you mentioned phone, and I'm at the point, man, where I hate my phone. I absolutely hate it.
We have an iPhone, so that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like the trash. We're light years behind Samsung. And yeah.
Once Steve Jobs died, yeah, pretty much.
I wasn't laughing at him dying.
Someone's gonna comment and be like, "How dare you laugh at Steve Jobs dying?"
Somebody's gonna cut that. Like Steve Jobs died. Let's go. No. But no, it's funny, man. I hate my phone now, you know, and I'm actually really, I guess I need to stop publicly saying it, but I mean, I always say like, I'm breaking from social media. This is trash. But like, I'm getting to the point where like, I really do, man. I'm just tired of it, you know? And originally it was because I was making the music and I was heavily making the music and I felt like I needed to have this image, but now it's getting to the point where it's like, why, man? Why, you know? And I just don't like it anymore. And I don't like zooming around on social media all day, just kind of waiting for that one comment, that one like or whatever. So I've really been diving into other things. But ever since I was a kid, man, I've liked writing short stories and I really do want to get back into that. And I mean, I really want to like sit down and really, I have a very big creative mind and that's why I like to do what I do. That's why I did the music. That's why I do the podcasting. I can talk all freaking day, but at the same time, I can really put myself in another world and I really want to tackle that. And I really want to get back to work on that kind of writing short stories and writing all that kind of stuff. But my recharge, man, I've really started to look into is different types of meditation and really trying to tackle that and reaching that, I guess you could say Zen and really reaching true mindfulness and being able to be present. I want to be present, man, because there was one part where I thought life was too slow. And then obviously when you're younger, right, you're like, Mom, I want to be an adult. I want to grow up. And then that first bill hits and you're like, shit, this sucks,
this is
man.
Overrated. Can I not be an adult now?
Yeah, exactly. This is trash. I remember telling my mom about that. Like, Mom, I can't believe it, man. I wanted to be right here, right here. And then now it's like, I got this bill coming up and my '05 Corolla doesn't even run anymore. And they told me that I need to ride it until it blows up, which is probably going to be in 2 months. And I'm sitting here like, this is what adulting is. It could be far worse though. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for what I have. Right. But going from that to now, dog, it feels like every fucking day is so quick. And it's like that autopilot, right? We start getting stuck in that autopilot where you do the same fucking thing every single day. And then all of a sudden you're like month 2, month 3, month 3. And that's where you see online where it's like, oh my God, February went really fast. And it's like, that's because we're all stuck on autopilot. So now that my recharge, what I'm really trying to work on right now is really trying to be a little bit more present, right? Because I don't want to miss certain moments. I really want to enjoy it, but then mindfulness at the same time, really being able to just sit there. It sounds, I know some people are going to be like, oh, that's corny, but no, man, it's super cool being able to sit there in a chair and just be like, yo, like I'm here right now, and I'm grateful for everything that I got, you know what I'm saying? And ever since I went to Africa and came back, man, it's just like I'm so thankful that I went there and saw what I saw and got to talk to the people who I got to talk to. Cause now I'm able to I'm really able to sit down and be thankful for what I have and understand that just.
You ever
What's
tried
up?
deprivation chamber?
Dude, that sounds like the fucking gas chamber from BMT, dude. What is that?
It's totally not the same.
I'm
Have you ever
scared.
heard of,
That scares me.
float therapy?
Float therapy?
Yeah. So,
No.
deprivation chamber or float therapy is kind of synonymous. So
That sounds like depriving, right? Is that like taking yourself away from certain things?
yes. So
Okay.
you go into this pool and it's got just enough water to float on,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while, you basically feel weightless, like you're not even there,
Okay.
and they can turn off the lights, and there's like no, it's like a soundproof area,
Yeah.
and it's just deprivation of sensory, and
Mm.
it can be enlightening. Some people can freak out, so if you're not really into that thing,
I'd love that, dude. That sounds.
don't
Woo!
recommend starting with it. Easier way
Nah,
into
I'm gonna
it.
start. I'm gonna go right into it, dude.
So people start freaking
Ah!
out in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, nowadays a lot of people don't. They can't disconnect from their phones.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it with recruits all the time. One of the biggest things was, I mean, when you're in boot camp, I don't know how Air Force boot camp is, but what boot camp
It's
when
high school.
okay, and when they get there, they don't have their phones. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They've never been alone with their thoughts. They never had to just sit there. Everyone has their phone all the time now. You can be in line at McDonald's for 2 minutes. You know what you're getting. It's the same dollar menu since like 1999.
Yeah.
And the person in front of you is ordering. So you're going to whip out your phone. You're going to scroll. You're doing nothing. You don't have a text. You're not checking anything. You're just scrolling for the sake of scrolling, having something in your palm to occupy your mind.
Yeah.
And they've never not had that. So their mind just goes haywire when they're just sitting there thinking about nothing. And then they think their thoughts go all over the place. And when you've never experienced that, it can honestly be a terrifying thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think as a society, we're kind of moving that way because we're always connected. We're not supposed to be that connected all the time.
Yep.
It's exhausting. We need that disconnect. Like relationships need that disconnect. Our social relationships need that disconnect. I don't know when I say relationship, I mean like intimate relationship.
Yeah.
We need that disconnect because it's just that constant stimulation. And then on the other side of the dopamine of getting that like, but then the depression side of seeing someone else in a sense that we want to be like, they look like they're having a great time on the beach. You're stuck at work. All of that combined.
Dude, it's that I'm so glad you're saying that because the connection's huge, especially with the relationship thing too. We're not meant to be like this all the time with people. You know what I'm saying? We need that little bit of space. We need that break because that gives our mentality that break in order for us to go, hey, you know what? I want that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it might sound rough and tough, but I mean, that's the way it is. Because if you're just around something 24/7, it's like it loses, I guess you could say, that value, right? But then you look at that connectiveness too. If I see you on social media every single day and I'm right there, I see you on the beach every day in my phone, 2 months down the road, I see this every single day. Is there a fucking reason for me to hit you up and say, hey, how you doing?
Nah.
No, because I've seen you every single fucking day. That's why I also want to take my massive breaks away from social media, because there's no reason for me to connect with these people anymore, because I see them every fucking day. And then people sit back and have the audacity to go, hey, man, why don't you never call me or anything? And it's like, I don't need to. I see what you're eating 3 times a day, every single goddamn day.
You made a
You know
status about you went to McDonald's. You posted the picture of it.
Congratulations.
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I want to do what I want to do, is because I want to be able to call people in 2 months and be shocked that they went to the beach and that they did this and did that.
Exactly.
Instead of being like, oh, yeah,
I'm like, oh, man, this looks like a great time.
Exactly. So I'm so glad you said that. And I think people really need to kind of hone in on that. Right. And also saying that, it kind of reminded me of something, the podcast that I'm listening to from like Andrew Huberman. Right. And I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he talks about kind of just like neuroscience and all this crazy stuff. But he talks about just simply in the morning, right? We're not built to process all that fucking information as soon as you wake up. He talks about that downloading process. When you wake up in the morning, that's your time to really start slowly downloading things. But when people immediately get on TikTok and Facebook and they're receiving all of this stuff so quickly, the best way for me to equate that is you start turning your entire day like that. So if you start right off the bat receiving all that information, all you're going to want to do all day is to continue. But if you wake up and you just start with a cup of coffee, maybe a couple pages of a book, and you slow it down, you're really going to slow down your day instead of just waking up and going blah, 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 blah. So then all day, that's all your brain knows, because it's the first fucking thing you did in the morning. So you're just, and then at the end of the day, you're like, what did I do today? I don't know. What did I eat for breakfast? I don't remember. You know what I'm saying?
It's a drug. Our brain chemistry is equivalent to like how a drug is. And the reason that drugs are so popular is because it produces those brain chemicals that we get when we're having a good time. Yeah. Dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, all those things that we want to have. We get a major dose of that from social media. We see a funny video, but continuously doing that, we're getting that click, 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 and our brain's getting that, and then it's used to getting that. So when we're not getting that constantly, like
my life sucks.
Our brain's like, what are you doing? We just got like 9 doses of dopamine, and now we're doing nothing. What? Stop it. Yeah. So our unconscious brain is like, we need more of that, because now we're sad. Yeah. And you're not producing the dopamine at a regular pace, because your brain also gets tired too. You can only produce so much at a given time, and your brain's like, bro, we got to recharge. We gotta do some sciencey things over here. We got to make this chemical again so we can have this for tomorrow. Like, have you ever been with a good friend and you're laughing insanely hard, like harder than you've laughed in a long time? Yeah. And then you reach a point to where like you can't really laugh anymore. It's still funny, but you've like maxed out your dopamine for that time frame. And that's essentially what we're doing with social media now. Yeah.
Or the third person takes the joke a little too far and it's not funny anymore.
That too.
All right, hey man, I'm going to step away just for the restroom for a brief second, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to talk about deployments, and we're going to talk about this whole radio thing, because I'm very interested. All right.
Okay. It's a loud flush.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Can hear all of the plumbing in your apartment.
Oh man. I mean, it is small. Yeah, that energy drink just went shoop. It is actually, yeah.
Someone's clipping that one.
Yeah. Son of a gun. That's all right. We need content for days. Okay. First question, typical, right? Everybody asks it of people that are in the military. How many deployments have you been on?
1, 2, 3.
Shit. Okay. What can you talk about?
I mean, my deployments weren't all. My second deployment, I can't talk a lot about because of the stuff that we did.
Well, that's the one we're going to talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's the one we're going to talk about.
That's the goods.
My last
just censor the whole rest of the episode.
My last one was technically a deployment. I don't consider it a deployment, really more of a vacation, because it was to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where, I mean, I had internet. I had a phone. I played video games. Yeah. It was the greatest deployment of all time.
Nice.
But it's a deployment because potentially work on the side of where the detainees are. Yeah. Luckily for me, I worked with the staff. So I didn't have to have any interaction there.
Okay.
But working over there, I got my first dose of like podcast style radio hosting, doing all that type of things.
Yeah.
Because they used to have, I actually got rid of it. It was called Radio Gitmo. And it would actually broadcast to all of Fifth Fleet. So it's like all of AFRICOM, all of South America, if they tuned in. So AFN, if they had AFN, the radio or TV, they would hear it if they so chose to. Huh. And we started off with just mental health topics. We would do one episode every Friday, and it would just have different topics like CBT, relationships, communication. And it started off, we picked up where the last team that was deployed there had left it, and it was scripted, and it felt unnatural, and people kind of started tuning out, or if they did listen, they only listened for the music breaks that we had, because we would pick some themed music. So if it was about relationships, we would have Crazy Bitch Plan or something like that. We would pick some funny songs like Cupid's Chokehold.
Yeah.
Related to the topic. And they would generally only really tune in for that because it was funny and it was music. And we stopped doing that after about 3-4 episodes because it was awkward for us and we kind of hated it. We switched it to more of a podcast style so we could have an actual conversation. We would have different points. When we were planning, it would be like, hey, these are what I'm going to go over. I might ask you this, or I might cover this. So we wouldn't trample on each other and both cover the same thing. And then we didn't know what to talk about. So we just made it more natural. It flowed better. People enjoyed it. I mean, you think how popular podcasts are now. Yeah. It's because people love having that in-depth conversation. That's one of the reasons I love podcasts, because you're having a real conversation. Even if you're just listening to it, your mind is engaged. You can be like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's really cool. Or you're going to talk to someone else about the podcast. Yeah. They're going to start a conversation. And to me, it's sustenance of words, meaning I hate small talk. Like, hey, how's it going? How's the weather? What's going on? Like the bullshit conversations that you have in everyday life with people are like, can we stop this? I don't want to do any of this right now.
Hey, how many deployments did you go on? How many people did you kill? Okay, bye.
It's just so ingenuine.
Yeah.
I hate conversation that's on the surface because I have to engage in it as well. Say like if a patient comes in for a doc and I'm not seeing them, I'm just taking their vitals. And they don't want to talk. Some of them will talk, and it's a great conversation, talking about a video game or whatever's going on. Some of them, I mean, naturally, they don't want to talk. I'm like, oh, is it hot outside today yet? And I'm like, I hate everything inside of me right now for this conversation, for even bringing this up. It just wasn't worth it, I guess.
No. I told you, man, I'm sorry. Now you know. Yeah, I do that a lot, man. I just kind of toss my phone. But
I mean, you did say you wanted to get rid of it, so.
Yeah.
Catch yourself doing it. Fuck out of here.
I didn't even, dude. That was so impulse, dude. I probably shouldn't have even done that.
It's natural.
It was a silver alert. They expected me to put an S on my chest and go rescue somebody. So
what the hell is a silver alert?
I don't know. I think it's like something's going on in like Albuquerque. I guess somebody stole somebody. I don't know.
Is this an Air Force thing?
No, dude. This is let me. Okay, now since we're asking about it.
No.
Amber alert. So let me go. I'm gonna go put my vest on and I'm gonna go find 1-year-old male.
Just any 1-year-old.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean that's easy. Just take a 1-year-old and be like, "Yo, I found him."
Yeah, right. I just don't know why I'm getting it in where I'm at. I
think it's a law. It goes out to like everybody in that area. This means basically somebody lost a child in your area. I don't know who Amber is, but she gets lost a lot.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Okay, continue. You're talking about basic conversation when somebody comes in talking about games.
Oh, in general, if it's a conversation that's just on the surface, I hate it.
Yeah,
everything inside of me wants to end the conversation, and I'd rather be silent. If we're silent and we didn't have to do this conversation, that would be preferred.
Now, my question for you is, where do you think that stems from? Because I kind of want to touch on this a little bit more.
What do you mean?
What do you think the whole don't like small talk kind of stems from? Because I kind of have an answer for you. Not for you, but for me, for you, because you was like, when like, you know what I'm saying? And you have a dream when you like, but when somebody makes small talk and you don't want to have the small talk, what do you think that kind of stems from?
Meaningless conversation. It's just, there's no purpose behind it. Like it's almost like you're just talking to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They feel awkward in the situation if there's silence, but they're also making it awkward with talk that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
You get the fake laugh, like ha ha, yeah, that darn weather, and it's
darn weather.
It's just
Never heard of her.
Be silent.
Yeah, I like it. My thing is, I really like to help people, right? And I really like to dive into things. I don't really like to keep things short. So I think that's kind of my thing. When somebody starts talking, like, and it's just kind of meaningless, real short, simple. That's why I think I want people to just be quiet, because I'm like, what is this benefiting? You know what I'm saying? Like me and you talking about the weather, or keep trying to cut into to stuff that doesn't need to be cut into, right? There's nothing that's good. We're not going to benefit anything from here, right? But I mean, it's got its pros and cons, right? But I like to help. I like to dive in. I like to really, I guess, solve problems. And me and you talking about the fact that it's 85 degrees outside, and usually that's not hot, but holy shit, it's hot today. That's
like, oh man, I love it. It's almost like it's like this every day. I compare it to this conversation that you have with most officers, where it's like it's just the most fake on the surface. Like you're talking to your CEO, like, yeah, yes sir, everything's great. How was your day? Oh, that's good. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to have this conversation. It's the fakest shit ever.
Have you seen that Chaplin video, dude?
No. You know the CO also wants to get out of that conversation, but he's like, everyone's gonna do it. Imagine, honestly though, if you think about it, imagine how he feels when he knows almost every interaction that he has is gonna be a fake conversation simply because of his position. Who's asking the CO how he's doing?
Yeah.
Who's doing it? Comment below.
Comment below. Tell me the story. Oh, man, dude, I wish you've seen that Chaplin video, man. That thing's so funny.
I'm going to need some more information than this. You can't just end on Chaplin video.
I mean, I saw it on Facebook, but it was just like kind of like a play on like where Chaplins kind of come in and they have to try to be relevant and, and relate, But he like comes in and he's like, oh, so you're shooting these, huh? Yeah. I remember I shot these one time. Yeah. So like, we're going to have a good day today.
Why is like every Chaplin so awkward?
I don't know, man, but it's just so funny. Oh, you guys are shooting Cheeto rounds? I remember shooting now.
There's a difference between awkward and creepy, though. And most Chaplins are just creepy. I don't know why. They're like the president sniffing hair weirdness. Like,
yeah.
what are we doing here, sir?
I brought your monsters. I remember my first monster. You want to hear about it? It's just, it is on that level of creepiness.
No, I don't, sir.
I don't, actually.
Like, part of you is intrigued, but you're also like, this is kind of strange.
Yeah. Oh, man. I love it. Okay. Back to the topic, if we even remember what the topic
was.
Oh,
man. I'm squirrel as fuck. I don't remember what we were talking about.
No, you're good. We're gonna cut back into, so you started doing this radio hosting and all of that. Okay. So where do we go from there?
We went far off to the left, apparently.
Smoke pit, baby. Yeah.
So I started doing that, and it was really cool. And I was like, oh, I wanna get a recording of these. Never listened to them ever.
Yeah.
And I still have a recording of them, mainly because I wanted my fiance to hear them. She's never listened to them. They're just taking up space for no reason.
Yeah.
And I ended up actually meeting Brock, and I met Brock through Regiment, actually. He was dressed in drag on his Twitch stream. And he was like, yo, I do some gaming podcast stuff. You want to be a guest? So I started doing that with him. And then for like 6 months, I did that with him. Yeah. And it was awesome because it was honestly one of the things I looked forward to in the week the most, because it was a legitimate conversation. It was about something that we both were interested in. And it was like just two dudes bullshitting in the barracks. Just about specific topics.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It was great. And then I unofficially became like his secondary host for a while. And now any type of podcast that I get to be host on, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Let's freaking do it. On top of that, too, you said that you color commentated multiple Battlefield 1 tournaments. So let's cut into that for a quick second.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever heard of, oh man, well, it used to be Battlefield League. They used to have different leagues, and a lot of them were on Discord. Actually just looking right now, Battlefield Nation was one of them.
Well, I remember hearing about like the different countries that would compete in Battlefield, and that's how that whole joke kind of started, where it's like we should fight our wars like this from now on. And I'm like,
that would be terrible, especially for Battlefield 1. I'm not trying to go back to the trenches.
Yeah, no.
But Battlefield got me away from Call of Duty because it's almost Call of Duty is like a bullshit conversation that you're like, I don't want to be a part of this, but I'm always there, and you go back to it. Battlefield to me was like a legitimate conversation. And strategy and everything.
What was your first one? Because mine was Battlefield 4, man. Battlefield 4 sold me. I know I'm not old school.
It was 4, but I got into 4 later in the cycle, so I didn't get super into it. I think I was there for like the last 6 months I started playing it, so I didn't really get all that much into it. And then I was like really hardcore into Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
And I started getting into these teams and getting into the competitive play. And one of the guys was like, "Hey, we're gonna stream this, and we're gonna commentate." And my team sucked, and we lost. And they asked if people wanted to do commentary on the other team. So we'd have to get a server, and we would get the camera angle, and you'd have to go to different people, talk about what's going on, be funny at the same time.
Yep.
All types of the same type of thing of color commentating. You can't just comment on the game, what's going on. You've got to have a little bit of banter and conversation going on.
Yep.
And it was fun. And so I did 2 of those. And then, I want to say last year, me and Can Do Boiler were the color commentators for the first Warzone tournament that we did. And it was hilarious.
Are you going to do any commentating for, I saw they got something coming up where they're looking for casters. Are you going to get involved with that?
I would love to, but Call of Duty is just dead to me. If it were for anything other than Call of Duty, maybe for the next Call of Duty, I'm gonna look into it because I do enjoy doing it. It's really fun for me. But I have to, if I don't know the game, I can't commentate.
That's the tough part. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like if it was a Valorant tournament, I can't be a color commentator for Valorant because I'm more gonna be asking like, what weapon is he using? How did he even do that? I'm more trying to figure out what's going on than like commentating on the actual game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen Courage JD on YouTube. He used to do COD shows, and listening to how he would do commentating on Call of Duty tournaments and everything, it was exciting. It was in your face. It was conversation that you wanted to hear, but it was also relevant to the gameplay. It was captivating. Is a good word.
So I'm going to keep this brief because this isn't my show. This is your show. This is your episode. You know what I'm saying?
False.
But false. 13-14. Codcasting. Black Ops 2. That was like my prime time, man. I remember being a codcaster for about 75 episodes on YouTube, man. It was like I loved it. That was my gig. That's where, and Black Ops 2 had my heart for like the longest time. And I think there's a lot of people that can associate with that, right?
It still has my heart.
Exactly, right? Quick scoping dude was like my shit, man. I just in the morning, made my little coffee, you know.
These CODs now are just like whores.
They're
the same.
They walk in and walk out the door.
Anyone will do exactly.
Yeah, I did like Modern Warfare though. 2019 Modern Warfare. I love it, dude. I love it so much. I love it. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Hard pass.
But that's all right, man. To each his own. I also liked Advanced Warfare. So hey, man, say what you want to say.
I enjoyed Advanced Warfare.
I miss it, dude. The BAL. Just I would just shoot around and reload it. Like it
was different. It was something you either didn't like it because it was new, and you didn't understand it, and you didn't want futuristic. But it was they did a really good job on it. Infinite Warfare,
why I think I liked
trash.
It. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
trash.
Man. I think that's why I liked Advanced Warfare because it was the first of its kind. It was like the first time they were like, yo, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to give this a shot. And I thought it was executed well.
Was BO3
Black Ops 3,
that?
yeah. Black Ops 3.
Those two did it well.
Yeah.
Black Ops 3 kind of, they're like, all right, we're going to take away the double jumping.
Yeah.
Keep it mostly the same. It was good. I thought they
Black
did
Ops 3 was
phenomenal
alright.
jobs.
I was actually playing Black Ops 3 days ago because I wanted to go back and do the Zombie Chronicles, and I miss OG Zombies, man. I was playing Verruct, and I was sitting there getting all creeped out, just like I did when I first started. I'm like, people are screaming in the background. This is creepy, you know?
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
But yeah, the COD commentating, man. And that's it. That's its own like COD casting, I guess. That's kind of like its own branch of like craziness because you have like your Call of Duty commentary where you're actually at an event and you're like, all right, that's what I'm talking about here, folks. There he is. He's going to be taking him down here, crossing that right turn. Did you know the other day, whatever phase member, blah, 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 right? But when you're doing the COD casting, that's like you in game actually playing and commentating. So I would go get 3 kills, get killed, and then commentate about that. And then what else was going on?
You were playing no, I've never played and commentated at the same time.
Never?
No.
Dude, that was the jam because I'd be like,
my brain can't handle as ADHD as I am.
I think that's why I like it.
Can't do that.
I think because it's like, it's where you kind of become like a prime bullshitter, though, you know, because you're able to just kind of like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is going to be spawning in with the SMC or whatever, something stupid, right? And then you just go in, get a couple kills, and you're like, I'm going to be taken down here, folks. And now we're going to be taking a look at Roger here. We're going to be using that ballista here, trying to get a quick scope on a live freaking match right here. MLG, for some reason, trying to bring FaZe into something that doesn't need it. You know, just start bullshitting, right? Like you said, the banter. And you bring in all this weird.
Twitch streams are.
It's just, I miss it. But you want to know who doesn't miss it? My parents. My parents.
Your neighbors.
Yeah, my neighbors. Dude, I'd be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen. You'd hear my parents go like, all right, he's starting again. They would take their cups of coffee and take the cigarettes outside and go do their own thing all day. And I'm just sitting in there trying to get the job. Would you just shut up? I'm like, no, this is my life, Ma. It's not a phase. This is real.
They never believe it.
No pun intended.
They never believed it.
They never believed it.
And look, here we are now.
Still here we are.
Still nerding out.
Still nerding out, dude. Still nerding out.
It's not a phase.
All right. On the topic of gaming, I want to talk about just briefly. I don't know if you play Halo or not.
Nobody does anymore.
But yeah, no, I've been playing Halo since 2004. I have multiple books. I know Halo history more than I would like to admit. What?
You wrote books on Halo?
Fucking hell yeah. Are you asking if I wrote them?
Yeah.
No. Well, internally, yeah, absolutely. I'd make like these little short stories where I'd be like, what if Master Chief did this?
See, you know? That's typical Air Force talking about how you can read.
I've been reading for a long time, though, man. Come on. I've had the book Fall of Reach since like 2005, dude.
I wonder what it's like to be able to read.
It sucks.
I mean, the Marine Corps killed a lot of brain cells for me. So I used to be able to read. Now I feel like I just look the window.
Well, no, here's the deal, man. Like, I read, but do I process the information? That's a different question. I read the book, but ask me about how many pages I actually remember.
You ever be reading a book and you have to reread the same paragraph like 4 different times because your brain is just not there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I stopped.
Start thinking about other shit. You're like reading it and you're like, this is so crazy. But like mac and cheese sounds really good right now. And then you're at the bottom of the page and you're like, fuck.
If it's not a deployment, I can't read. I can't focus on it.
Well, anyways.
Back to the Halo days.
Yeah, I'm so severely upset, man, and like underwhelmed with Infinite, but I'm super excited for this Forge. I don't know if you're seeing all this stuff that they're talking about Forge, but I'm super excited.
The BR that they're trying to come out?
Nah, the Forge mode, man, where like you can create maps and you can do like all this cool stuff. And it's supposed to be better this year. It's supposed to be better this year. This new Call of Duty is going to be better. This is going to be the best. This is Call of Duty. Oh my God, that just reminded me, man. Look at me.
We've been hearing that every year.
Yeah, but I mean, I love that because it's such a run-on joke, dude. I love it, but I use it for everything now. It's like this year we got this. This is Call of Duty, and it's like, come on, dude, come on.
New year, new me.
New year, new me.
And it's the same. Where's the same game? It's gonna be the same. Just like every year when people say New Year, new me. You're the same person. You didn't change anything, Fred.
Yeah. Or Toyota, where they have a commercial that has nothing to do with anything car related, and at the end of it, it says Toyota, and you're like,
I mean, I would totally drive a Prius with these gas prices.
I mean, dude, yeah.
Yo,
maybe.
my sister had a rental. We drove to Pittsburgh for 7 hours. We got 57.8 miles per gallon. It costs us $20 for the trip.
I learned how to drive in a Prius.
I wouldn't tell people that.
I'm being vulnerable here, dude. I'm taking my steps to vulnerability here.
That's too vulnerable.
What it was at a program called Stop and Go, man, because I refused to drive for the longest time because part of me was scared. And another part of me, I knew that driving was like not the most, at the time I wasn't thinking about it like this, but I was like, I don't want to be on the road. Like, I don't, because people suck. They're ass at driving. You know what I'm saying? And I just kind of understood, I guess, younger, that like the driving is the most dangerous thing that you can fucking do, man. It's second nature, right? We just get in our cars and we kind of go. But honestly, dude, like that's a really dangerous thing that we do. And when I was 18, 19, they were like, you got to learn how to drive. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I want to play Halo 3 and I want to be at home. But it's like, you got to be able to drive to go get the food that you eat while you play the video games that you're playing, right?
Not anymore.
What? Not anymore. Not anymore, man. What a time to be alive, dude.
But oh man, I can't wait to get out and get fat, bro. Man.
Yeah. Hey, man. Well, I don't know. The gym's kind of like my hero right now, dude. I'm loving the gym. But okay, look, dude.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Squirrel.
I do this every podcast I'm on.
Yeah, I think some people might like it, and some other people are like, "Yo, this dude won't shut up." But Forge,
generally,
they say there's going to be able to be like scriptable AI. Okay, quote unquote. Now, hear me out. Halo Infinite campaign comes out, right? They've been working on for like 5-6 years. And I felt like I got fucking 2 months worth of a storyline. Okay.
Sounds like some cyberpunk shit.
That's what I'm saying. But now hear me out, right? Halo Forge comes out and it's great. Scriptable AI. You can make all these crazy big maps that we've never been able to make before. Hear me out, dude. Fan-made campaign missions. You've always thought about a certain portion of Halo, like, what if it happened like this? What if it went like that? And now we have the ability to potentially create that. Talk about actually being able to save Halo, dude. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I think that'd be sweet.
It would essentially have to be like how Fortnite has their custom games. I don't know.
You lost me at Fortnite.
Yeah, generally, I would feel the same way. I got into after their no build stuff, so you don't have people building a Hilton in front of you.
Yeah,
but I never knew they have custom games and things that are not related to actual Fortnite whatsoever. There's like death runs. I played golf
I've seen the death
with my friends. That's the most popular one.
Yeah,
or well known. I played golf the other day with my friends. They've got
they do zombies
rooms.
Or anything.
There is a zombie mode. Yeah, you know how Call of Duty has the what is it? The prop hunt? Prop hunt?
Yeah.
There's a prop hunt in there, and it's insane. Like it's way more in depth than the Call of Duty version. Yeah, I was mind blown. I didn't know they had all these mini games. It's like the slightly older version of Roblox.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know the original prop hunt though from Gmod, right?
No, I hate prop hunt. It's so boring.
Man, dude, I'm talking like 2012 Vanoss Gmod prop hunt.
I don't want to sit there and be a prop and hope that you find me.
No, yeah, you're good. Oh, it's the original was cool, man, because it was just like there was 5 oranges on the map and you saw one accidentally move and everybody in the lobby's like, like the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen, right? And it was like, at one point it was very fun. I think now it's like kind of overdone. It's kind of, I don't really want to sit there and be a prop anymore because like, what do I do while I'm sitting there? But then again, that's
literally like just nothing. You're just
attention span.
That's the worst part about the Fortnite one is that it's so massive and there's so much there. You're just sitting there.
Yeah,
it's boring. But they have so many games, and I think that's kind of what you're referring to. If you're able to do those type of mini games and have that thing to where you could customize it, that would be awesome.
I mean,
but it would need to be on that level though.
Yeah,
to be that good.
Well, I challenge you at some point today, like on Twitter or something, like just kind of look up like Halo Forge because a lot of people are posting like content and you're really starting to see like, dude, some of these people are building maps that have like it's rainy, like it's throwing you right back to like Halo 3 ODST, and you get immersed, man. You just land in there and you're like, oh my god, for some reason I feel like I'm fucking here, man, and it's looking good. But then I read something that makes me mad. It said that they're potentially going to actually monetize Forge. So essentially, we don't know what it truly means, but if you have to pay for certain maps
They're
or
gonna
pay to
NFT it.
use items, dog, and if they do, man, God, oh,
I can see.
man,
Think about it. They create a map. Someone creates a map. Boom, becomes an NFT. So if you purchase that NFT, that's your map now. And then you could sell your NFT. Someone else can have that map and play on it.
It's so sad too because like I told you earlier, right? Like really being able to be in my own mind and really being able to almost like design this whole other universe. It's that the possibilities for Halo are so big, but I don't understand why they're fucking it up so bad.
It's too big of a company.
Like, and it's sad, man. Why aren't more people? I mean, I think people are having these conversations, but why is nobody over there listening? Like, they're just running something into the dirt, and it blows my mind.
It's just, I've had this conversation. Me and Brock have had these type of conversations numerous times, and I think it's kind of come down to when you get to be so big, and it's usually the publisher and not the studio. Yeah. They control everything because they control the money, so they control the game. The devs are the nerds like us that are just smart and know how to make the game as well as play it. They don't want to see what happens to the game any more than we do, but they're forced by the people that are in charge that have probably never touched a video game or haven't really played one in like 30 some years. They're just out to get the fastest amount of money. That's why COD kind of went down the rabbit hole of garbage.
Yeah, every year making a game and everybody's still buying the goddamn game.
It's because it got to a level that it had a status that people were going to buy it regardless, and the quality started going down, but they didn't care because it was they were still getting their money. They were just like, produce it. And now you see it's the smaller studios that are tending to make better games. Like Santa Monica, they've got God of War, they got the Witcher series, because they're independent studios that are they're the own publisher. When the studio is the publisher, it tends to be very good. Epic is like one of the weird ones. They're an anomaly so far because they create really good stuff. Honestly, quality, not the best as far as like personally liking it, but their quality of game is very good and engaging, and they do very well.
Well, you look at Tarkov too. I love Tarkov. I just don't like the specific play style of Tarkov right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking for more of a Call of Duty-esque, like give me some team death matches, Tarkov style, like just gritty. This feels too realistic to be the way it is because I suck and I lose all my equipment, and then I'm spawning in with just a pistol and I get obliterated, and then I cry, and then I go back and I play Call of Duty, right? Or I'm playing Scum right now. I don't know if you played Scum before. Scum is a real big game for me. And then Red Dead Roleplay. I'm real big into that right now. I don't know why.
Is that the same as like GTA Roleplay?
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. It's just not 5M. It's called Red M. And I like Red Dead because for some reason, man, and it's the soundtrack too, but Red Dead is one of the few games that when I get into, I just tunnel vision. And I'm like, yo, I'm here, man. And it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful map. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like I find myself going over it sounds so nerdy, but I go over a hill in Red Dead and I just pause and I go, holy shit.
Such a beautiful landscape.
Yeah, like folk it out, mate. We just fucking camp right here. I don't know why I went Peaky Blinders with it, but yeah.
I did that for Assassin's Creed. I would just stop on top of the mountain and be like, this is majestic.
Just one of those things. And then Rockstar apparently just doesn't give a shit about Red Dead, which is also embarrassing.
Because they're too big. It's a moneymaker thing for them, man. I'm telling you, all the smaller studios, like I don't know if you've ever played No Man's Sky. That's the game that I've been getting lost in lately.
I haven't, but that's the game that has Norman Reedus, right? Or no? That's last No Man's Sky. Last Stand. The Last Stand or something.
No Man's Sky is the one where you can explore space. Like you can go to thousands of planets. I think they calculated it would take literally thousands of years to actually explore the entire game. That's how many galaxies and planets there are. It's like real time.
How the hell?
Yeah, it's insane. But when the game first came out, garbage, trash, did not do well. It was broken. It barely worked. People crashed. It had like no content. Think Cyberpunk.
Or Master Chief Collection, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It was trash when it launched. But they're an independent and smaller publisher. They stuck with it, and around I think it was last year, a major article had come out about it, about all the updates and how it went from one of the lowest ratings on Metacritic and Game Critic to like in the top 90s. Like it's insane. Wow. It's made them a massive jump because of the quality. They stuck with it. They did what people wanted it to be, and they made it to where it should have been originally. But they at least stuck with it. And even after all this time, when it's an old game at this point, technically, they're still constantly updating it. They're making it better. And those are the devs and the companies that care and that are also allowed to care because they're not controlled by a massive corporation like EA, Activision, the ones that are like, we want the money and we own you. So you produce what we tell you to produce or work somewhere else, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and I something in there I like that you mentioned, and I got to give my buddy credit for this. His name is Hidden Cryptic. And me and him have had numerous conversations about how we just hate that like no game just feels good anymore. But he said it seems like all of these companies are given a half-ass game just so we can pay for it, and then they gradually update the game.
Yeah.
My problem is, why is that turned into a thing? What happened to when in 2010 I get my Xbox 360? Actually, it kind of started there, but you get your 360, you get your Black Ops 1, you go home, you throw it in the disc tray, boom, you're online, you're playing, you're kicking ass. And then now you download a 100 gigabyte game and it still isn't even finished yet. Why is it
if you get the disc now, you still have to download.
Yeah, you
still have to install.
Like, yeah, exactly.
I've got a good answer. Pre-orders.
Because that's how they can get all that money to probably continuously work on that game, huh?
If you think about how pre-orders started, pre-orders, I think, really came around. From what I remember, I think I remember a pre-order roughly around like 2010, 2011, 9 era.
I think Black Ops 2, that was
huge.
Like
those were huge eras. But why? A pre-order was because games were getting so popular and mainstream, but they were only disc versions. You could only buy them in a store. So you would pre-order to reserve your copy. Guarantee that you were able to get the game, take it home and play it, and didn't have to like wait till restock. You didn't have to wait till Christmas to get it. You had your game. And if you didn't pre-order, they were out. Basically, you couldn't play the game. So pre-ordering had a purpose. Now you can just download it. You can have it automatically set up to download at midnight. Yeah. So now pre-ordering has lost its purpose, and now it's a way for them to get our money early, and it doesn't incentivize finishing the game. So they're like, oh, we already got our money. We can just finish the game later if it's not received well.
Yeah.
Or if people like how it is now, we'll move on to the next one. It just takes away what it used to be. So they can produce half-ass stuff and then be like, oh, our bad. We're going to make it better. We promise. And then slowly it does get better. And then a year later, when the next game comes out, or they're halfway through whatever cycle it is, nobody cares anymore. Like, that should have been how it was at launch.
Yeah.
And if you need more time to do it, I mean, games are more advanced now. If you need more time to do it, take the fucking time to do it. Don't just take my money and be like, hey, we'll give you a few cosmetics, things that are pointless, that don't matter.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing too is like looking at when Elden Ring dropped, man. Like that's how you do it. Like that game dropped and was like, wow, why aren't more companies doing this? Like, give us a good product to start.
Because they did it well.
Yeah.
And
what you said was so nostalgic, man. Pre-order your copy, and then you go in and then you get it, and then you go home with the disc in hand. I'm like, oh my God.
I specifically remember I was stationed in San Diego at the time when MW3 and Black Ops 2 came out. And Advanced Warfare. But those two specifically were some of the biggest ones. Me and my best friend standing outside this massive, mile-long line outside of GameStop.
Yeah.
We get there about 9 o'clock just to be decent in line for the midnight release. Talking nerd talk with all the people in line. Don't know who they are, but you're all talking about Call of Duty, the features that you've seen, previous games. So Black Ops 2, we're talking about how MW3 was, how things that we wish were different. Just that nerd talk in person. Then you go home, the game servers are down, crash. You're like, fuck, can't play till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You install, and now you don't have that.
Yeah.
You're installing the day prior, or it's pre-installing, and you don't play it for like 2 days. and it's like not available to play.
Or it takes 2 days to download. Dude.
Exactly. It's on the system.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you get my money when this game sucks? So I refuse. I refuse to pre-order a game.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to produce garbage and you have shown that you've consistently done that, why am I going to give you my money ahead of time when your track record does not show that you deserve my money ahead of time?
You know what I want to finally get into? Battlefield 2042. I played the trial about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, well, now wait a minute, dude. I'm having a good time. And then now I kind of, I don't know.
It's better to get into it now. If you just now start getting into it, it's better than like when it came out.
Yeah. I heard, huge flap. Even then, though, I didn't like the look of 2042. I was very upset that they went as future as they did. The only thing that kept my interest in looking at the game was the portal mode. I was like, that's cool, man.
It's kind of
going back to Battlefield 3
for a long time.
Yeah, honestly.
It's a very hurtful and touchy subject for me because I love Battlefield and I'm just so hurt at how much they failed at it. And how much I want to love the game, but I know all the issues with the game, and it's just frustrating.
Moment of silence.
I know.
I miss Modern Warfare 3, though. Yeah, I like that you mentioned Modern Warfare 3. I really do miss that, and I love the grittiness of like the 2v2, 1v1 face-off. Man, like I remember going to school, and my buddy, right before we go home, we dab each other up and be like, face-off tonight, and then boom, we get on the 360, boop, boop, you'd see it pop down at the bottom, you got online, you're like, yeah.
It was survival mode for me.
Face-off, man. Survival mode? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, that was back when
that
was back when all the lobbies were the same. They didn't disband, and then you could also should talk everybody in there.
On survival mode, I always got my ass kicked by the Juggernaut, so I just stopped playing. I was like, I don't know how to do this.
There's only certain maps that I would play. Some maps would just destroy you.
Yeah.
God, I'm a simplicity guy. If it's too hard, that's why I don't play Elden Ring. It's quality of a game, and it's phenomenal as it is. I suck, so I refuse to play.
Yeah, I started Dark Souls, and then 20 minutes later, I stopped Dark Souls. So that happened.
You walk into a room and you're dead, and you don't know why.
I was like,
But then again, you play Call of Duty and you die, and you don't know why either. So
yeah. But I just remember, man, just like I think Erosion was the map, but I just remember me and my buddy, MSR 2v2 face off, just going to town, man, just all day face off, man. It's good times.
Back in that nostalgic days. You ever try to go back and play them? It doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't. You know what did though for me? Black Ops 1 for a little bit. And then recently, I got the IW4X stuff. I installed it, and I did. There's still a couple Advanced Warfare servers on there.
Wow.
Now, first of all, I had to plug in my controller, dude, because I'm going to tell you right now, playing Advanced Warfare on the keyboard, dude, I'm like,
you got to be super precise.
I can't do that, man. You got to like, I don't know, and you're flying all around. Nah, not me, but give me that controller. I'm like, da-da-da-da-da.
What's that mod? They're creating that mod that has every Call of Duty ever into it.
I'm invested though. I remember Call of Duty Online though. That was a huge thing, right?
It's like COD squared or something like that. I'm telling you, if you Google it, it'll correct it to what it actually is. I'm telling you, if you Google COD squared, it'll come up with the proper thing of what I'm talking about.
Hey, SM2.
Yeah, SM2.
Oh, hey, what is this?
So they took every Call of Duty since I think Modern Warfare, and they started blending them. And think of like how Warzone is now. They've got 3 different CODs in one. They started doing that, like it was all the old maps, all the old guns.
Ooh, hard hat.
Yeah,
this is a Modern Warfare 3 map, and then this is
and it's a crowdfunded thing. I can't believe it's still going on. Like there's not like DMCA, Activision hasn't tried shutting it down. It blows my mind. But
well, I mean, because if they're not going to charge for it, then they can do whatever the hell they want, right?
Sort of. We've seen Destiny and other games. Nintendo is really guilty for this. Just DMCA slamming custom maps that look like them when they're not making any money off of it. It's just it's like a map that somebody made and people are playing it. They'll strike it down and the person won't get in trouble for it or anything, but it just makes the map unplayable because it's a DMCA thing. Yeah. But so it blows. I don't know how they're doing it, but highly recommend watching a full video on it. It's full nostalgia and it looks epic. I want it to be done so bad if it weren't only crowdfunded, because that would kill Call of Duty straight up.
Oh, absolutely. Call of Duty, well, they'd get killed by Call of Duty. Yeah.
Funny. Right? Killed your own worst enemy.
Yeah, yeah. God damn, man. I just...
The good old days.
I wanted to get into Dark Souls, man, but I don't think I'm actually going to do it. I'm really leaning into this whole Red Dead roleplay thing, though, because I'm really starting to get fond of roleplay. I know a lot of people make fun of it, but you can say whatever the fuck you want. I still think it's more challenging for you to be able to successfully do roleplay than it is for you to just play a fucking game. Because you have to be creative. You have to tap into a certain portion of your mind still too. You have to be cognitive, right? You have to understand that you are now in a role play scenario. You are no longer in just a hey man, I'm gonna go eat some chips real quick and be right back. Like, no, you gotta be creative. You gotta be like, hey man, I'm gonna sit down at this campfire real quick and I don't know, you come up with stupid little terms, you know what I'm saying? Little terms. But I'm really starting to lean into it, and I really want to dive into that realm. But I was going to get ready to record the gameplay too. But I have a laptop that can't go past like fucking 30 FPS. So then when I go to record, yeah, man, my buddy was like, hey man, don't get a laptop. And I was like, yeah, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go get a laptop. And naturally, right, we all make a mistake. Just this one was a $1,500 laptop.
Like joining the military.
Yeah.
Every military person to high schooler, I can't wait to join. Don't do it.
I can't wait to join. Now I will be honest though, you know, I'm glad I joined, right?
Oh, absolutely. I would never go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we say we
definitely
would,
funny in its own way. Yeah, take me right back and I'd be like, yeah, you know what, I'm still gonna go.
It's a double-edged sword. Like we wish we didn't do it, but we will also do it again.
Yeah, funny. Well,
how long have we been going?
Hour and 57 minutes.
Wow, that's not bad. How long was
it really isn't. What?
How long was the first one? I don't remember.
The first one was about an hour and like 30. The second one, now that we can talk about it, because this isn't going to be uploaded until it's uploaded, was with Icy. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He takes over the stream every now and then.
If I saw him, I might. I mod for so many people in the server that names. I'm like, maybe I'll know you.
Well, and his episode was incredible, man. I was really happy for it because we got to give him the main reason that I like doing this show is because it gives people a platform to be able to come on and just kind of say what they want to say, but also give them a platform to just talk about who they are, you know? And I feel like there's a lot of good people, especially in this team, man, that have stories that they can share that can motivate the fucking masses, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it needs to be done.
I'm that weird guy that I hate talking about myself. I feel it's harder talking about myself or even when we have our Navy evals, we always have to write them ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do or talk about. Yeah. Because it's about me. If I were talking about my junior sailor, I'd be like, he did this. That's
what I'm saying. We have the EPRs, right? The evaluation progression system or something like that. I don't know, record or something. But like the first one that I was going to write, they asked me, they're like, hey, what did you do this year? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't save any fucking lives. So I guess just not much. And they're like, it doesn't work like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I didn't do anything big. So I'm here, I'm doing my job. I'm taking care of my people, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, like, what else did you do? And it's like, across the military spectrum, I don't like the eval system because it's become very fluffed. I'm going to leave it at that.
Significantly.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of taking the fact that you flipped a coin and somehow that saved us $250 million in profit, right? Like it's one of those things where I don't really like it, but I get it. I get why it exists.
I think that's an Army or Navy Air Force thing, because I don't think the Army and Marine Corps does that. They're more performance-based. They've got their pros and cons, or however the Army calls it, but it's not nearly as important.
I get it, but I don't, you know?
As us, yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but I just...
I think it started out as...
something good.
Kind of performance. It was like technically performance-based, just performance on paper. And now it's just about writing up, like, I changed a hand sanitizer bag into, I eliminated 4,000 microbes and single-handedly prevented the spread of COVID-19 to whatever. Like, you change the hand sanitizer bag into that bullshit is why I hate it now.
Dude, did you see that thing that trended around where it talked about the airman or the NCO that changed breathing into like a bullet, like a very big bullet?
I've seen similar things, but I haven't seen this particular one.
Oh, man, it was so funny. I wish I could recall everything offhand, but it was just funny because they sat him back in the office and he's like, yo, is this bullet about fucking breathing? And the guy goes, well, you can say that. And he's like, fuck no, dude. Go rewrite that crap. But I was like, man,
I would have given him credit.
That's it. Hell yeah.
For being like, that's all about breathing.
Yeah. It's like I took carbon dioxide and transformed it into this, thus saving the lives of my team members around me and allowing us to do the mission. And it's like, yo, what?
That's how I'm writing my resume whenever I get out. I'm writing a resume how I wrote my military evals. Yeah. There's going to be some real shit on there, but there's going to be a lot of bullshit. It's going to sound amazing.
And then at the end of the day, you just be like, yeah, dude, like that one right there, that was me changing out the hand sanitizer bin, bro.
Oh, 100%. You know, if you have a military person or a veteran that's interviewing you and they see that.
Oh, they're going to be like.
They're like, impressive. I know this is full of shit, but.
Yeah, Germex, got it. Okay, cross that off.
What are your real skills?
Yeah, what are your real skills? All right, man. Well, it's been 2 hours, man. It's been an incredible episode. We bounced all over the place, but I mean, that's the kind of way it goes, right? Being two podcast hosts and just fucking going. Yeah, just going with the wind. And that's what I like to do with this show. Just like you talked about that whole radio thing, like scripted. I mean, it's not fun. I like the natural conversation. And that's what I look for when I listen to a podcast is I like to listen to two people naturally talk. And that's where I find the most interest because I'm like, oh man, you never know what's coming next. And that's the fun for it. Yeah. Right.
You can have like a guideline or like specific topics you want to hit and cover. Yeah. That's cool. But having it scripted though, it's just, it feels awkward.
Okay. And now we are going to talk about Halo Infinite. Like, get out of here, man.
How dare you talk about how I talk? Like,
hurt.
I sound monotone all the time. Okay, it's not just.
Get inside. Put the ball down. That reminded me of
Stop licking the window.
Stop licking the window. I'm just trying to ball my bros.
The snozberries taste like snozberries. Just saying.
All right, man. This is your shot. Outro. Tear it up. Give us anything you got. Plug it all, and we're gonna out of here.
I don't really care about talking about myself, so you've already seen my name on the screen. If you want to look me up, do that. Everything is the same, but the real take home is talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and get help when you need it.
Yes. Indeed. The doc everywhere. Okay, cool. Okay. I guess that's it. I suck with goodbyes, as you guys have seen on the last two episodes. But hey, big shout out to G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Paradox Customs. Appreciate you guys being along for the mission. And of course, Stack Up. You guys have been incredible. Your guys' mission going along with our mission and just everything that we're doing good for veterans, military alike, and just handling all of this. And you said Reverent Warrior, right?
Reverent Warriors, yep.
Reverent Warriors. Okay. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more. I like what you got going on there.
If you check out the events in the Discord, so there's events all around the country, different hikes, different cities, states, etc.
Okay.
Find one that's closest to you, wear your regiment jersey, take your regiment flag, and get the nerds together.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Well, appreciate everybody for listening on this episode. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Later.
Peace out.